The hilarious comedy crew are here again as they carry on camping and causing chaos and confusion wherever they go.
So if you're losing and that push too far, then there's no need to worry, 'cause I'll be camping hard. Yeah, I'll be camping hard.
Contact, what do you do when your sock goes down inside your shoe? It's a bloody curse, nothing worse when your sock goes down inside your shoe. Your sock goes down inside your shoe. Your sock goes down inside your shoe. The sock goes duty safe like you.
Hello again and welcome to episode 94 of There's Still Time, the AFTN podcast. I'm Michael McCall.
And I'm Steve Pander.
And we're bringing you another podcast from sunny Vancouver after Whitecaps training. And pre-season is back in full swing. They're back in Vancouver after being down in Tucson. And a
quick trip in Victoria.
Yeah, in fact, let's start off with that. I mean, the Victoria game. I'm using inverted commas around game because it wasn't really much of a game.
Definitely not a contest for sure, if you want to use that.
I mean, 6 of the best from the Whitecaps. It was 6 going on 16. I mean, in years past, it's been really close. Has it been a case that Victoria's got worse? Or is it just that this Whitecaps unit is much, much better than previous years?
I think, well, before they used to always put almost a reserve team. Not last year, but the year before and in previous years like that. Last year they did bring a few of the first team guys, but there weren't that many and they were still getting used to each other. I think this year you see how close this team is in the chemistry, and I think that made a big difference on the result essentially. And the players like guys like Rivero showed so much class. Bustos was like all over the pitch, and they just had a lot more depth and a lot more players on the same page.
I mean, the game, it was hard to take too much from it. But, I mean, you mentioned Marco Bustos there, and Marco, for me, had a great game. As did Sam Adekupe and Pedro Morales as well. But it was mainly the young guys that really, really stood out.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned Marco. Even Keon's, I thought Keon's played well in an attacking role when he came on. Ben McKendry was here and there. And so I was... Cale Clark set up that last goal, which was really nice coming down the wing to Keon. So there was a lot of good positives, even though, you can't, like you said, you can't take too much away from it, but still a lot of positives coming out of that game.
I mean, it's good as well that the Whitecaps keep going over there. I think that was the 10th annual game between UVIC and the Whitecaps, and it's good for growing the Whitecaps brand on the island.
Especially with the Highlanders gone.
Oh, yeah. I just wish it was... I mean, we didn't go over this year. We went over last year with our ferry ride from hell. And it would be good to see another team in Victoria. Now that the Highlanders have gone, Victoria United's gone, the demand for top quality soccer there is really big, and they really, really need to try and get a team somehow.
Yeah, it's hard to say. You say it's big, but why didn't they last then if they were so big? It's
well, running costs. I mean, to have to travel to and from the island constantly.
That's the issue.
I mean, that's what put us off going this year. I mean, the ferry takes so long, the plane is just... great, nice and quick harbour seaplanes, but so expensive.
Yeah. Oh, well, the ferry ride's not that cheap either.
No, that's true. But we mentioned Marco Bustos' performance there. We caught up with Marco at training today just to ask him about how he's settling into pre-season camp, his first one as a signed MLS player, that game in Victoria, and his hopes for this season. Here's Marco Bustos.
You're feeling funny, then you're feeling strange, then you think things will never change. But I believe in fairy stories, giant killers, hope and glory. Looking after the things I live for, all the places I've never been.
So Marco, you're back in pre-season camp, but you were here last year. How does it feel to be back now as an actual signed MLS player?
It feels really good to have signed in September and been on the roster since January 1st, and then coming into preseason, knowing what to expect, because last year was my first ever preseason with a professional environment. So now I know what to expect, and it's a lot easier on me mentally and physically, because came in physically prepped. So.
And you've had a year as well to basically get to know pretty much most of the squad. Does that help you like really settle in, and you're not really the rookie anymore, you're not going to get your head shaved again, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it helps a lot. I mean, for me, when last year, a good guy for me was Nigel and Kenny. They really helped me get settled in with the boys, and now that they've gone, I've been good connection with Pedro and all the older guys. So it's good to get your arm around one of the older guys and help them bring you up. So.
What are your hopes for this season? Obviously, this is a USL team, but I know you want to get MLS minutes. We were kind of speaking, and we've been told you've got a two-way contract, so you can easily go between the two leagues whenever you want. But what are your hopes and your goals for this season?
I mean, anybody's goal is to play in the first team. And right now, all I can think about is just training hard enough and working hard enough to play the first game. Like, first game for me, and getting in and making my debut. And that's pretty much it. I don't really want to look too much ahead of it, but just to get my debut in.
Seeing Kian's get that chance down in Seattle last year, I mean, you must have just put yourself in his situation and thought how wonderful that would be. But knowing that Robbo's given you guys chances, what does that mean to you as a player to train all that harder to try and get your chance?
Yeah, no, it's amazing, because our manager believes in us and us young players, and to get him to give us the chance is amazing, and for him telling us and letting us know that the chance is going to come for us young guys and stay patient is something that you work every day for. So
now with the USL, there's a couple of guys been announced today, and there's all these guys that you know playing that as well. Have they told you yet? Because obviously you're captain of the under-18s. Are you still going to be playing residency games, or is it more USL, MLS stuff?
They have told me that I won't be playing residency anymore. So,
and there's no one there to score goals anymore. Lined up, Dario's going stuff as well.
No, I mean, it's good for the younger guys coming up. Yeah. U16s getting into that squad and showing what they can do. And I think the guys who've graduated, me, Kian's, I guess Mitch and Jackson, are good role models for those guys to come up and know that our manager up here gives us young players a chance, and they have the chance to come up.
Now, you played against Victoria on Sunday. Outstanding performance. Like, you got a goal, got the assist, and you seemed really comfortable out there. It's like you don't seem phased playing with all these other guys.
No, I mean, it all comes with who you're playing with too, and we have a great group of guys here, and they make it so much easier when everyone's available to come to the ball, and I felt really comfortable, and it was good to play in front of the Victoria fans and a lot of people, and it was really exciting.
Now, we've seen you score a number of good goals for the residents, especially this year, but that goal seemed something special, a couple of little flicks and then volleyed home. Was that one of the best goals you've scored?
That one, and probably one I scored in the beginning of the season that you guys talked about. Yeah, that was one of my good ones, and one was against Portland when we went to Portland, and I scored from half. So probably those three.
What was with that celebration there? Come on.
People got to know the name. I got to get my name out there.
I'm pretty sure by the end of this season that they're going to. So good luck with the season, Marco, and we'll talk to you as the season goes on.
Thank you very much.
That's great. Cheers, man. So a number, as you said, of first-team players travelled over to Victoria, especially guys like Pedro and Stephen Baitashour, who are still trying to get their fitness back at the moment. One player who didn't travel, though, was David Ousted, and the goalkeeping duties were taken on by, Marco Carducci was injured, so the goalkeeping duties were taken on by Paolo Ternaghi, who finally got to play a game for the Whitecaps.
A full game, too.
Yeah, and basically didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And Spencer Ritchie had headed over as well, but David Ousted didn't go over. Now, David Ousted had such a good season last year for the Whitecaps in MLS, led the league in clean sheets, and it's hard to really follow up on that. and improve on that. But I mean, he's focused. He wants to be better, and he wants to still play in every game. Now, Steve, you had a chance to speak to David at training today, just to ask him how he feels camp's going and his time in MLS so far. So here's David Ousted.
So David, this is you're starting your second season with MLS. Overall, how has training camp been so far for the team with all the changes and everything like that?
It's been good. Everybody needs to find their rhythm and get into it, and I think everybody's looking forward to Portland to get some games in a little closer to the season and get that competitive edge. So far, so good.
You've had quite a few changes with the center backs in front of you. How is it going to be with the chemistry? Is it going to be difficult to get that, or is it a good thing that Waston came in 6 months before, so you got a little bit there?
Yeah, no, we need to, of course, figure it out. It's about getting to know the guys you're playing with, and we'll get there. But we've had so many games this year that I don't think we're gonna play the same center backs in all of them. I'm quite sure we won't. So it's about, as a group of defenders, of coming together and doing the right things. And we did really well last year, the whole group of defenders, and I think we've got a group this year that has the equal chance of performing like we did last year. So I'm looking forward to getting some more games with him and getting into the rhythm.
Is it important to have a guy like Ka, who's got some MLS experience and also very vocal on the field, on that pitch with the guys?
Definitely. Ka's come in here with a big smile on, and like you said, a lot of communication. Pa knows how MLS works and how a lot of defenders will, and he can help out the young guys as well and the new guys at his position. So he's been a great acquisition for us, and I think everybody's happy to have him here.
When it comes to MLS, like we said before, it's your second full season starting up. Is there anything still strange about MLS that you're still getting used to, or is everything like the travel, or is anything else like that?
Well, I'm used to it now. I've tried it for a full season. I know how my body reacts to certain things. And having a week, 7-day, 10-day trip around the States playing is still something that I think is hard for anyone. But no, I know what to do now. I know how to treat my body to be able to perform every week.
You led the MLS in clean sheets last year. Is that something you're looking forward to even getting better at, or and with with another year under your belt?
For me, it's most important that we win. I'd say I'd love to keep clean sheets because it helps the team out, but I much rather win 2-1 than play 0-0. It's not about the individual in this, it's about the team winning. If I can keep clean sheets and we can win that way, I'd love to do that, but I try not to set those kind of goals. I try to set the goal as I want to perform to the best of my abilities and help the team out as much as possible.
And are you looking to maybe double your assist mark from last year? Sorry, get something more assists?
That would be nice. Yeah, I think I need a couple more assists this year.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Cheers.
So that was David Ousted with his thoughts on camp so far. Michael, what do you think his prospects look? Do you think there could be a drop-off, or do you think he'll just keep continuing to rise?
I think his level's still going to be the same. I think what you've got to factor in is familiarity of the defence in front of him. As he said, the chances of you having the same centre-back pairing for the the whole season is slim. As we know, Vancouver's just got a bit of a nightmare when it comes to centre-backs anyway. We always seem to have injury problems galore.
Injuries or suspensions at the wrong time or international call-ups is going to be too.
But I'm confident that no matter who plays there, then there's going to be a good understanding. Unless you've got something like Ka and Waston both out, I think you need to have one of those two guys there for that central defensive pairing to be really strong. They're both really vocal. Ka's fantastic. I mean, he's just great. I mean, I loved Andy O'Brien, everyone knows that, but I mean, Ka seems to bring a different level onto the pitch in terms of vocalness. And it always boils down to, anyway, like, as long as the Whitecaps can score one more goal than the opposition, it doesn't really matter how good a season David Ousted has, as long as they can just score that extra goal. But I think, and I expect to see more of the same from him. Yeah.
And one of the key veterans on that back line that is going to help with the transition is Jordan Harvey. He wasn't at training today. This is obviously Tuesday we're talking about. Wasn't at training today because he's the MLS representative for the players, for the team. We're only speculating that maybe he's part of some kind of negotiation. But we're obviously getting to crunch time right now for the CBA talks. There's been very little talk in the public realm when it comes to what's going on with the CBA.
Yeah, and I mean, just 18 days to go now until first kick for the Caps.
So that could be a positive thing because of the fact that whenever things go quiet, that means they're close and they don't really want to ruin it by posturing and getting people on their side. What are you were kind of here and there with how the CBA is going. What are your thoughts?
I'm not overly confident. I know, like, they've brought a mediator in, and you feel that is actually a good move, and the fact that it has gone quiet just now in the media, you think that is a good sign.
Whenever things get close, like whenever they don't, because when you get people talking is when they're far apart. They know they're going to strike, and they're just looking to get people on their side. So they're trying to get people, the owners are saying the players are greedy and, they want people to side with them. They want the players are going to be saying stuff, and so they want the fans supporting them. So essentially, when things go quiet, that means they're not really, maybe they're close and they just don't want to screw anything up by talking too much.
I mean, let's hope so. To me, it's not looking good. And I back the players 100%.
So do I.
If there's a lockout in this, and if they go on strike, they are fully justified to do so. You have to raise, to keep the best young players in the game in North America, you have to raise that minimum salary.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got players like Dario Zanata's just left the Whitecaps residency programme because he can get more by playing overseas, and we've seen a number of players leave Canada. Garcia. Yeah, I mean, to go and do that, because even playing at the low level, they can get more money than what an MLS contract would offer. So who knows what a low-end NASL or USL Pro contract is going to offer.
So those are Michael's thoughts. We had in our previous podcast with Zach and Slamo, we spent some time talking about the CBA. Unfortunately, because of time, we had to cut it out of the previous podcast. So take a listen. This was recorded about 10 days ago from today, and see what we had to say at that time. The CBA, obviously the talks are going on. There's people saying they're closed, people saying they're not even in the same ballpark. The players want free agency, which I think they should get, especially after a certain age. When you've put in like 4 or 5 years into a league, you should be able to go freely wherever you want and not have to deal with re-entry drafts and stuff like that. Your guys' thoughts from what you've seen online and what you've heard from, because some players have said some stuff. And obviously the league website and obviously the team's website, they're not talking about CBA at all, but the players are. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, March, April, and first half of May, it's not going to be that big of a deal, right? Because you'll have the fans who will be there no matter what, right? Once you start to get in the second half of May, June, you start to get those games where, not so much fans, but I go to 3 match a game or 3 match a year, 2 match a year to sit in the bleachers in the sun, blah, blah, blah. That will impact that crowd if they start getting into May, June. To me, I I hope they don't strike, obviously, but if they do, they've got to be quick about wrapping it up, right? Because if it goes into the summer, that's where it will.
I personally think it would hurt if they do strike. I think it hurts the MLS more.
Than as opposed to the players?
I think the players will obviously miss their paychecks, but like especially the guys that are making $40,000, how much is a paycheck then, right? Anyways, they're obviously getting supported somewhere else too, right? So I think it hurts the league more because the league is still young. It is finally starting to grow, and with Orlando and you're getting players like Kaka, you want to get those guys on TV, and you don't want to strike to keep them on the sidelines.
It's a tough one, right? Because the players are looking at it and going, okay, TV deals, got these world-class players coming in, right? Like guys that will sell jerseys around the world with MLS kits, right? And that sort of thing. So the players are looking at that and going, this is our opportunity. But at the same token, well, it is the opportunity, but if you mess it up, it's gone, right? You don't get the opportunity over and over again, right? So they've got to be careful as well. Like the players don't want to blow this opportunity to have the league, because you're looking at the MLS All-Star game. I know we can debate whether that's worth it and blah, 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 but that's a quality team, the MLS All-Star team, right? Yeah. When you look at who's going to be on that team, like that's a legitimate squad, right? You know?
League One side at least.
Oh, come on. That's a CONCACAF winning team. Right? I mean, it's a quality team. We've got quality players in this league at that level for the first time ever, right? You know, so they can't really blow that, and they can't take it for granted or push, you know, against that too hard. So
Zach, your thoughts on CBA? 30 seconds or less. I'm just kidding.
They're going to Mars bar. No, so I don't. Obviously no one wants a work stoppage. For me, honestly, I'm finding it like, I'm excited for the new season, but I'm like, and I don't know, like the things are on my calendar and whatever, but like Mark, I was talking to Brett Bird yesterday about this, and I was just like, I'm not as excited about March 7th as a day that the season's going to begin. I'm excited for the season to begin, but I'm not like, I'm a little bit pessimistic, but maybe that's just because I would have hoped that there would be more dialogue or more public dialogue or more public kind of knowledge of what's going on. And
but sometimes when there's public dialogue, that means they're just wasting time and trying to get the public thing, and they know it's going to go. So
true.
No, I know. Sometimes the less you hear, the better.
No, I know, but if you look back at the last year and all the posturing that MLS did, it was pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Like just have them come out and say, "Oh yeah, we're losing." You know, in the one sense, here's our TV deal, and by the way, we lost $75 million last year.
And then, the Whitecaps buy October Rivera for whatever million, and then you got Javinko coming in,
totally. and that's because MLS is a shell game, right? Because it's more than one thing, so they can say, "Oh, MLS has no money, but the whatever it is, Sum or whatever has all the money, or whatever the group's called." Or, it's not. This whole thing is not exciting to me, and I think, like you said, Slamo, there's damage that can be done that it's almost like you can't go back for some people, right? Like, I'm not a ice hockey lover, at this point in my life, but I know when you listen to people talk about those things, those stoppages that have happened, for some people it totally changed their involvement.
Oh, it did for me.
Yeah.
I didn't really. I don't think it was that. I think it was also the style of play, but those two combinations, I stopped following it as much as I used to.
Having said that, I think I naturally would support and stand behind the players in any kind of dispute with.
This is one league. I think, like usually in other stoppages, and whether like you talk about football, baseball, whatever, millionaires. So so you're kind of you really don't care about either one.
No,
I think this is one league where I think the majority of fans would be behind the players, because you got a lot of players that make under $100,000, and they're putting their bodies on the line to play. Entertain, and
then there's people who say, "Oh no, but that's their job. They sign up for that, whatever." Which to me, like, as much as I'm not a big fan of capitalism, and you talk about you get what the market bears for you, or whatever. Like, all these things, they all come into that conversation. But like, yeah, I think when it comes back down to it, you can say, oh, that person, has a good life or whatever, and they're doing this first season of their life, whatever. But then you have to stop and say, okay, how much money is being made by these other people, right?
Yeah.
And obviously they're not going to have like an equal share of that, but it should be somewhat relative or somewhat fair. And so when you know some of these people are making a lot of money, it's kind of hard to say, oh yeah, the players should shut up and just live with it.
Yeah. And you got players like Greg Klazura and other young players who don't, would rather, better off going back to education and doing something like that instead of living off 40,000. The thing is with MLS too, they should be a lot better financially because they don't have to support Chivas USA this year either. Because that team's gone, so they don't have one team they don't have to support that put money into that team. So I think, overall it hopefully should be worked out before opening day, and I think for the players, especially the lower paid players, it works out better for them.
So who knows how these CBA talks are going to play out. I just hope they can get something done. And MLS, they're really going to want to have something done. When you've got Orlando City and New York City coming into the league, players like Kaká, the attention of the world focused on that, Man City fans in England focusing on New York City.
Oh, I'm sure they're totally focused on that.
Oh, I mean, what else could they be focused on? But MLS want to get this done, but the players are quite right not to give something up. One thing I've thought is really good about it is that top players like Michael Bradley, on $6.5 million a year, they're backing the players and they're like, yeah, we agree that the players at the bottom end should go on strike. And if you want to attract top players to MLS and keep top young talent in MLS, there's all these things, free agency, decent wage, it all has to be addressed.
100%, yeah. Because one thing is Kenny Miller, like for example, a guy like Kenny Miller or Barry Robson, when they first came over, because they were playing with like lower end players that weren't very high quality, they were getting frustrated constantly. These guys that come over from Europe, they want to play with players that have some talent, and you have to keep that talent in MLS, like you said, the young talent, and cultivate it, and not lose it to Europe and everything. So you essentially have to give them somewhat of a reasonable pay.
And the thing is as well, you want to bring players over that are also going to be patient and want to coach and want to help develop the young talent. And the Whitecaps actually have someone in their camp right now in Robert Earnshaw. The Welsh international, experienced galore. He's played in the Premiership, he's played in the Championship, he's played internationally for Wales. I think it was 58 caps. He knows Robbo really well. And he's a player that's at the stage of his career now where he really, really wants to help develop the young talent. And the Whitecaps desperately need someone in the strikers department. After Kenny Miller's departure, there's no experience in this just sole strikers department to help our young talent develop. The likes of Hurtado, the likes of Mane, Caleb Clark even.
And even Rivero, who's, despite being a DP, is still a young player. I'm sure he could learn a lot from a guy like Earnshaw.
Oh, totally. And Earnshaw wants to impart the knowledge that he's got. Now, I had a fantastic chat with Earnshaw last week at training. It's a bit long, it's 12 and a half minutes. It was a bit of a mammoth chat. You might have read it in written form on AFTN, but we want to play it in its audio glory now, just so you can kind of hear the desire and the passion that Earnshaw has to be with the Whitecaps and also to help bring on the young striking talent that we have here. So here is Robert Earnshaw.
You could hear the hoofbeats pound as they raced across the ground, and the clatter of the wheels as they spun round and round. And he galloped into Market Street, his badge upon his chest. His name was Ernie, and he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West.
So you're in camp with the Whitecaps. Robbo said it's a bit of both, you trying to get some match fitness and also that he can have a little look at you. Mm-hmm. Would you like to hang around if things work out?
Well, I mean, it's too early to say, but it comes down to when we sit down and where we are at that moment. How long that's going to be, I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to concentrate on. For me, coming here was about mainly about getting fitness. because I'm probably 10 days to 2 weeks behind everybody else. So I started last week where everybody else started before that. So I'm kind of catching up. This week today felt much better. So it's really just trying to creep up on everybody else's fitness, but it's getting there. I'm pleased for how last week went. Arizona I thought was brilliant, very good for me, very good for the team, and just to be around the guys and get a feel of the ball again, and really just pick up my fitness slowly. And I actually felt better every day up to this week, so it's just that progress.
Now, this is the third club you've been with in MLS now. How have you found it here compared to what you had in Chicago and what you first found when you came over to Toronto?
I think every team is different, definitely. I think just different philosophies, different ways of working, little details are different. Generally the whole package is similar. Because MLS has great facilities. The teams really have a great platform to play in, to train in. So that's very good. So that's what I enjoy. And it gives you a chance to get better on the field then, because you're not worrying about certain details that are kind of missing, that are critical to, once you go out on the field. But things are good. I've enjoyed it here so far. I've been here, just over a week and a half, and I'm very pleased with how the team has worked. I think there's a good group here. I like the players that are here. Great ability, but very young. So it's very early to say. It's very early for me to say, this is how it is and this is how they are, because they're very young, not a lot of experience, and needing that experience.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing. I've been hoping that Rob was going to add somebody that has got experience, and with what you've done in England and obviously Welsh's international scene as well, you're what the club needs. We need an experienced player up front. How would you feel about kind of taking on a kind of mentoring role here?
It's funny. I can't talk about being here because I've not signed a contract, so it wouldn't be right for me to say this is how it is or this is what needs. That's for Robbo to decide. But I've definitely found myself over the last 2-3 years in that role anyway. I find myself talking more. I find myself giving more advice. I find myself giving what I've learned and what I think and how I know maybe more inexperienced players. I find myself kind of going into their minds a little bit and saying, I know you were thinking this, but have a think about this and giving advice. So I found myself just naturally going into that role anyway. So I'm definitely at that stage where, and I'm more open to, I want to give out the experience, because there's no point in me playing for I think this is going to be my 18th season. I've still got loads of energy and I want to play, but in the secondary role, when you get to a certain point where you've gathered so much information, you find yourself, it's natural for me to give that out, because I feel that, the reason I've played 18 years is because I was willing to learn. I was learning off, I can roll off so many players that, real big influence on me, and I was picking their brains, asking questions. And for me, if that wasn't the case, I probably wouldn't be playing here now because I wouldn't have learned, So, again, it's not for me to say about this team yet. But I'm definitely, even here, the last 10 days I found myself just wanting to give out the experience that I have got. And I think it's only right for me, because I enjoy that. I enjoy if somebody comes up to me and asks a question or what about this or what was it like playing in the Premier League or all these different questions that have popped up over the last 10 days or so. I enjoy, if somebody else can learn off me, if that's possible, and giving out that info to them so they can get better, And I really enjoy when I can see players really develop on the pitch and really like teammates around me. You can see the enthusiasm to learn, but then they actually get better on the field and you actually see it. I think that's a really it's a great thing, especially when you're a teammate as well. I think one of the greatest things I think you can give out to a teammate is give them confidence, but you give them an experience or make them better, and that's what I enjoy.
You've scored goals everywhere that you've been. I remember you, both your spells at Cardiff and Nottingham Forest. That's the ones that really stick in my mind. Mm-hmm. You've scored goals in MLS as well. How did you find MLS when you came into it? I mean, you've managed to get goals here as well.
I found it. I think it took it. I mean, actually, I really burst onto the scene really because I scored in my first game and then scored in my second game, and I got a few goals, and I've enjoyed actually playing in MLS. I think physically it's very demanding. I find myself really having to use the cleverness a lot more because I think that's one of the key things. Sometimes I find myself not so much in really getting up and down and running here, there, and running a million miles all the way around. It's actually, I find myself really trying to think about what's happening on the pitch and finding my space, and that's one of the key things that my experience is what has found me goals in the MLS. So that's been good. I've really enjoyed it, and it'd be great for me to carry that on and carry on scoring goals.
What was it that actually made you decide to come over here in the first place? Like to MLS?
I just, at the time, I thought I needed a change. I needed to experience football elsewhere. I think, for me, to develop as a player and, I don't know, maybe go into coaching one day, I don't know. But to develop as a footballer, I needed to experience it in different settings, different mentalities. So I went to Israel. I played in Maccabi Tel Aviv. That was great. In the 3 or 4 months I was there, it was like definitely a great thing for me. I actually learned probably more in the 3 or 4 months than I probably learned in 4 or 5 years playing in the UK, and that's how much that's how rapid it was. And I wanted to come over to MLS because I enjoyed the league. I saw the league. I've seen it over the last few years developing. I've seen very good players playing in the league, and it's a very good league to play in. And I think people are taking notice of that now. But I took notice a few years ago. So that's why I came over. And it's. I've enjoyed it. Everything that I'm experiencing over in the league is what I came to experience. And I've enjoyed it. And like I said, for me, it's not about turning the switch off. Now it's I want to get better. I want to score goals. I want to play for as long as possible. And I want to still enjoy it. I still enjoy playing football. I still going out there, and you see today we're doing the running. It's tough. It's not nice. It's horrible. But it's what you're there for. It's what you enjoy. It's part of the game, and that's getting fit and making yourself right, kicking the ball. All these things is everything I enjoy, and that's why I'm here.
Were you surprised when Toronto didn't keep you on after the season that you had? I mean, you were the guy that was getting the goals from. Did it come as a shock when they didn't keep you on for the second year?
Not really, because I think traditionally the Toronto always change the team, change the managers. So it was half expected, it was just a case of whether we agreed or not. At the time we didn't agree a contract, we didn't agree terms and everything, so it wasn't right to stay. And also with the players that they brought in at the time, I didn't fit in to the salary cap. I mean, the salary cap is what it came down to. I think maybe if it wasn't for the salary cap, maybe I might have stayed, but sometimes that's what it kind of comes down to, and that's the difficulty maybe sometimes in MLS is fitting your best players within your budget, and that's the difficult part. So it's no surprise. It's just that's how it is. But I actually, I went to Chicago and I really enjoyed it there. the training was great. The club was brilliant. I got a few goals as well, which was always nice. So I really enjoyed that. So these things you just experience, go through, and sometimes you end up staying with a team for a long time where it's unexpected. Sometimes you actually move on when it's unexpected, and this is just part of the game.
What is it that's made you want to stay in MLS now instead of, I'm assuming you would have had loads of offers to go back to England, maybe the Championship, overseas or whatever. What makes you want to stay in MLS now?
I guess if I can, first of all, help my teammates, give people experience of playing in Europe, then that's a great thing for whatever team I'm at. And also because I enjoy it. I enjoy the league. I enjoy playing here. I've definitely enjoyed Canada. I've definitely enjoyed the US. And I think just like I said, for me, I'm not a case of where I switch off and say, oh, I'm not going to learn anymore, or I'm not going to get better, or I'm not going to play any longer. For me, it's about playing longer, learning more. I want to be out there. I want to be playing. I want to touch the ball. I want to score goals and celebrate, and all these things is what I enjoy. So that's why I'm here. That's why I play, is because the enjoyment of wanting to be out there, wanting to work hard, and when that ball hits the net, and the whole team gets around you, and those are the things that I'm here for, and it's really that simple. I want to be part of a successful team and part of be a piece within a group of players that achieve things, and that's what you aim for.
That's great. Thanks so much for your time, and hopefully we'll maybe see some of your famous backflips in a blue and white.
We'll see.
All right. Cheers, Robert.
Thank you.
So that was a very fascinating talk you had with Robert Earnshaw. He was very open and talkative there.
Yeah, I could really have talked to him for a lot more, but by the time I had turned around, everyone else had left. So I thought, he's going to have no idea how to get back to training camp. I should really let him go.
Essentially, you were mentioning before too, between him and Rosales, you can have like an hour show if you wanted to, the amount these guys talk. And other people are talking too, that Ka can talk forever and can keep you in stitches too, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but I think we might do a veterans show one day soon. Another kind of show that we are going to do something soon is WFC2. Whitecaps USL season gets underway at the end of March, and they announced their first three signings today for the team.
Yeah, you got Jordan Haynes, who plays a little bit left back, a little bit central mid, can even play the wing, and also you have Mitch Perreault, holding midfielder, and then Jackson Farmer, who can play central defence, and he can also play on the right side.
And we're going to hear from all three of those guys in a special WFC2 podcast that we're going to bring out maybe at the weekend, starting next week. It's open tryouts on Saturday, and we're going to head along to that and see what familiar faces we know. We know there's a few guys that are coming in to try out. WFC2 camp gets underway on Monday. I'm looking forward to it. It should be good, and we're going to bring you a special WFC2 podcast, as I say, and we'll hear from Alan Koch a little bit in that as well.
Now, will you be live tweeting from the open tryouts to let us know if Jacob Lenski actually shows up?
Well, if we see the oxygen masks down by the side of the pitch, then that'll give us a good indication. I might tweet out from the tryouts, actually, and just see if there's any well-kent faces that we can put out there. But it's an exciting time for the Whitecaps. Let's just hope, as we discussed earlier, that the season does get underway. If nothing else, we know that the USL season is going to get underway, so at least we're going to have some football to watch.
And of course, we have some football to watch next week. Whitecaps will be heading out to Portland, playing the Invitational. I'm not even sure what they call it now. They call it the Road City Invitational, but they call it something else.
It's the Simple Invitational now. Simple tournament for simple people. That's basically how I think Portland are selling it.
Okay, so you'll be heading down there for the full week. You'll be in training. I'll be heading down probably for just a game. And we'll hopefully be able to do a podcast from there next week as well.
Yeah, Whitecaps are going to have 3 games down there. We hear there could even possibly be a 4th one maybe that's getting set up as well. So everyone that's going down, you're going to kind of see the Whitecaps in some really strong games. They're playing Chicago, they're playing Portland, they're playing Staybeck. And it's an interesting mix because you're going to have Frank Yallop and Bob Bradley down there, 2 coaches that had been linked with the Whitecaps job. And I'm excited because I'm going to get a chance to speak to Scottish international Sean Maloney when he's going to be there with Chicago.
Excellent.
So we'll bring you some stuff from that. But that's all for this episode of the podcast. As always, thanks for listening. Steve, if you just want to tell everyone where they can find you online.
On Twitter, at WhitecapsBeat, and occasionally writing for Canadian Soccer News when the season starts.
And you can read all my stuff online, AFTN on Canadian Soccer News. Get there, aftn.ca, canadiansoccernews.com. We are working on our own AFTN site, which will be coming out very, very soon. And it's shaping up to be really, really smart. I'm very pleased with how things are going. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Michael McCall. You can read all my tweets at AFTN Canada. And I'm also the beat reporter for MLSsoccer.com, and you can read all my Whitecaps coverage on there. So until next time, as always, thanks for listening, take care, and mon the Caps.
When you're listening in some far-flung corner of the globe to the World Service of a Saturday afternoon, crackly reception, interference, cosy, marvellous. Somehow comforting, isn't it? You know, legendary names, fathers and sons on the terraces, cheesy peas at half-time, pint for dad, mum's at home making the tea. Oh, everything's all right with the world, isn't it? Saturday afternoon is football.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but